I cannot believe this. Pedro Pascal said something stupid. It's a Tuesday in Hollywood when an actor
69.
says something stupid. But Pedro Pascal, who of course exited the Last of Us season 2 by having his character murdered with a golf club. I am not watching that season 2. Season 1 was fine, and I really enjoyed most of it, for sure.
It was the flagship show of Disney Plus, the Mandalorian.
Well, no, I'm talking about Last of Us season 1, which was on Max. It was on Max.
I've completely forgotten about that show.
Yes, Last of Us season 1, Last of Us season 2. I think the first 2 episodes aired, and he gets killed in the second episode. Spoilers, it happens in the game. But Alan, if you would bring up the notes for this
Sure.
From the Hollywood Reporter, Pedro Pascal calls J.K. Rowling a heinous loser for latest trans comments. So Pedro Pascal has a brother who is trans, a trans woman. I you know what? I don't know how it works with the pronouns and what how you're supposed to talk about it. All I know is he has a sibling who is trans. Let's leave it there. Sibling who is trans. We know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in the real world, we know the truth. And that person who is trans can be whatever they want. I am fine. I don't care. But Pedro's got some choice words for J.K. Rowling. I find this really ironic because Pedro works for HBO, works for Max. And J.K. Rowling is doing the new Harry Potter show on Max. How do they handle that? I mean, are they going to fire him? They don't have to. He's already out of work. You know, I mean, taking roles for actors, roles for people who work on film and TV, it's a freelance job. When the job ends, you're out of work looking for the next job. So they can't exactly fire him. But what did he have to say, Alan, if you give us the crux of the story here?
He actually does have a job. He's Avengers, Doomsday, and
well, that's Disney, different company.
Right.
I'm just pointing out.
Pedro Pascal works for every company. Let's put it that
way.
way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways.
All right. Pedro Pascal calls J.K. Rowling a heinous loser. Pedro Pascal recently criticized author J.K. Rowling on Instagram. Awful, disgusting shit is exactly right. Heinous loser behavior. In response to a celebratory post about the UK Supreme Court ruling that defines sex as biological, including trans women from legal recognition as women. Pascal commented under the activist post, which denounced Rowling's stance and urged a boycott of HBO's upcoming Harry Potter series. Although Pascal didn't mention Harry Potter directly, his agreement with the post is seen as many as aligning with calls to undermine the reboot's success. This is notable given his prominent role in HBO's own hit series, Pascal. Pascal's brother. This is written weird. Pascal's brother to a trans woman has consistently used his platform to advocate for trans rights. Recently, even donning the Protect the Dolls shirt at a red carpet event. Meanwhile, HBO is downplaying boycott concerns, pointing to the success of Hogwarts Legacy, despite similar backlash. The controversy highlights ongoing tensions between Rowling's view and her enduring influence on the franchise.
Well, first of all, great, Mike. I love your read of that. You could probably slow down a bit, I would just say. But I gave you my thoughts. I don't think Pedro Pascal has said some wildly just things that if Gina Carano was let go because of her comments, if that's the standard, he should have been let go for his comments from Mandalorian. Based on what he said. And ultimately, what does he do? He's a voice actor. They could have replaced him. I mean, he's not in the suit half the time, more than half. So I don't know. I think that he, for some reason, he is free to say whatever he wants and gets cast more often. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's it. It's the free speech. She can say what she wants. He can say what he wants, and we can talk about it. And no one should lose their jobs. No one should go to jail. No one should have their lives threatened for it. In terms of the comment itself, I mean, J.K. Rowling is not against trans. She is against trans in athletics. She is against trans in bathrooms. And in terms of children, gender affirming care for children, that's the stuff she's brought up. And in a recent CNN poll, when asked, do you support trans athletes in sports, 80% of the people who responded said no. 20%. You don't ever get a response like that from 80% of the population.
Right.
So in terms of how is this going to affect HBO, it's not, because people don't care. People know, people understand what's going on, and that this issue is being brought up to inflame the left. And it's just, there's just not enough people who agree with that position to make an ounce of effect on whether Harry Potter will be successful or not.
Yeah, I think the tide has turned on this issue in terms of people have seen the real costs. Women losing out on college scholarships in athletics. It's affected people and people, and they can talk about how it's just a small. Why do you care what it affects? It affects going to the bathroom in certain places, especially in California. It's I think there needs to be I think the public has turned around on this. We want to be accepting of, if you want to live a certain lifestyle, live as a certain way. I don't think anyone cares about that until it affects others. If you insist on others
unfairly, let's put it that way.
Yeah. And so I think that it's, J.K. Rowling is right on this issue. I think a lot of minds have been changed because of what we've seen happen. And you can be trans. You're allowed to exist and be trans. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But
you shouldn't go to jail. You shouldn't be threatened. You can, that's what you choose to be, you can be that.
You choose to be that or whatever. I mean, one thing I always loved about moving to LA was I was like, wow, I'm dressed pretty normal. If you see me, I'm like jeans, t-shirt, jacket. I dress. But one of the things I loved about moving to LA is wow, people really are outrageous. And I like that. I like, let your freak flag fly. When I was in Michigan dressing kind of like a punk, I'd be ridiculed. But you're coming to the West. This was back in the 80s, different time. Yeah. I think people are more accepting now.
Yeah. By the way, what do you call a trans female sports team?
What?
Winners.
Did you write that joke?
Yeah, I wrote it.
Yeah. But look, I think that people, for the most part, are very accepting, whether it's gay rights or, trans or whatever. They don't care. Just don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't be invading women's spaces. Don't take opportunities away from women. I think that now that we've seen the real cost of widespread unchecked acceptance, that's led to all these problems, and it's turned the entire public around on this issue. It's a hill I think one political party is going to die on.